When most people think about DJing, they think of someone playing music at an event. And don't get me wrong, that's about 90% of it. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the 10%, because if you're a DJ, it doesn't matter what stage of your career you're at. If you're a DJ and you know in yourself that you can do more than just solely play music on a pair of decks, this video is for you. I'm Spin-Milz, DJ, AV technician, and co-founder of Camille Live. So at the beginning, you might think the goal is just to get booked. We've all been there. When you start out, you just want to be outside, you want to be playing to people. Sometimes being all cooped up in your bedroom with your first pair of decks gets a bit too much over time. When you think, right, you've got the skill now, you want to actually be out there. That's always the case until you actually progress into your career and you start coming across other people in the entertainment industry. They don't have to be DJs. They could be AV technicians. They could be radio presenters, venue owners, event planners. That's only, 4 or 5 there. But there's so many different industries that make up the whole entertainment industry. Once you start being around those sort of people, you do realize as a DJ that there's so much more that you can do as opposed to just solely playing music, should I say, on the left deck and the right deck. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video today. Before we dive into the many ways on how you can expand your DJ career, let's actually go back to basics and recap on what DJing actually entails. Music knowledge, music organization, music research, crowd reading, troubleshooting, branding, networking, promoting, technology, sound systems, working under pressure. That's only a handful. When you're not behind the booth, you're going to go along with that stereotype of just someone playing music, but there's so much more to it. And again, that's what this video is all about, knowing that the sky's the limit. Avenue 1, music production. So I thought I'd start with this one, even though this list is in no particular order, by the way. But I think as a DJ, music production as a whole is quite a good skill and quite an important skill that a DJ should have. Not necessarily down the route of producing and making beats and things like that for artists and singers, of course. If that's a route that you wanted to go down, by all means, 100%, it's great. But I'm more thinking about the sort of technical behind the scenes elements of the music we listen to every day, whether it's breaking down a song, from instrumentals to how vocals are manipulated and things like that. A lot of DJs nowadays are jumping on, and I think there's always room for more people to get onto it, is making your own sort of personal and custom edits of existing songs. And of course, with the right permissions, you can then publish them on platforms like SoundCloud, Bandcamp, YouTube. It's a really, really healthy thing for the DJ community. Like I say, a lot of people are jumping on it. All in all, when you make your own edits for songs, it just makes your sets a bit more unique. It doesn't mean that every set you have to do has to be a set full of edits. Having them in your inventory can be useful in the long term, especially when you catch people off guard playing the hottest song out right now, but you flipped it in your own sort of way. It really just brings a different perspective to your set. Avenue 2, radio DJ. So this one can be quite opinionated at times. Reason being, I'd say personally, is because we all know that in the last however many years, streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music are just up there. Maybe 8 times out of 10, you get into your car or you're cleaning up, you're going to put on your Spotify or Apple Music playlist as opposed to putting on the radio. However, I can see it from both sides because I've been a radio broadcaster for just over 6 years, and from inside out and outside in, I'm able to see what radio does and certain elements that radio has that a streaming platform could never overtake or even catch up to. Because streaming platforms, you've got to remember, are, they run off algorithms, people's actions, what's hot. But when it comes to a radio show, there's a bit more of a personal approach to it, whether it's the presenter building the show from the ground up or the producer who works behind the scenes building it from the ground up. There's different elements in radio that are still relevant today that, again, can't be overtook by a streaming platform ever, where you've actually got someone in control of the music that they want you to hear, and you're experienced in that sense of being a radio DJ, so you know your music. You're going to use that platform of radio to get it to a wider audience. It's not as clear who you might be playing to, but you know that someone's going to be tuned in. And nowadays, with technology and how things are going, radio isn't just about physically playing music on the airwaves. You can make content out of radio, things like interviews. There's a lot more interaction and more of a personal touch with radio in comparison to streaming platforms. So I think, all in all, in a nutshell, there's definitely still a place for radio, and I don't think it's something that's going to die out. Avenue 3, radio production. So this one I won't touch on too heavily because it's similar to radio DJing and presenting, but it's more what you do behind the scenes. So not actually being in the limelight, but actually building a show from the ground up, doing research, selecting and picking and playlisting the relevant songs that suit the show, that actually make sense for that platform. And it's just a lot of behind the scenes work when it comes to radio production. Avenue 4, throwing your own event. So this is a really good one. And I'd say if you are someone that might be considering it, or you've been considering it for the longest, but you just don't even know where to start, or it might be too daunting and you might think, you've got to have a budget, or what if everything goes wrong? What you've got to remember is, even if you've done a few bookings, hopefully you've been able to network with people, whether that's DJs, event planners, promoters, venue owners. You can get advice from these people. Most are going to be willing to give you some sort of advice. And you take on that advice and make what you can out of it. It doesn't mean that you've got to go for the most spectacular venue. It doesn't mean that you've got to have an event that is 100 capacity. It could be 50 capacity. It could be 40. You start somewhere. When it comes to building a set list, you might think, but who am I actually going to get on the lineup? Or am I just going to DJ the whole thing and tire myself out? No. At events that you might have DJed at previously, you're going to build a network of DJs that might be before or after you. Invite them to play at your first event. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be willing to help you out. So yeah, when it comes to events, without getting into the nitty gritty, do some research, approach it in the right way, and you'll be absolutely fine. If it goes wrong the first time, go again, because events is something that doesn't become festival scale from your first 2 or 3 events. It's something that you just build upon. Avenue 5, MC hosting. Again, not one that I'm going to touch on heavily. However, when it comes to MC hosting, my thought process is you might be a DJ that is confident on the mic, but instead of utilizing your DJ bookings to interact with audiences, why not use your existing network of DJs, see if they need an MC? Because you could be, friends with someone that's also a DJ, but they might not have any sort of confidence on the mic. And for that specific event that they're doing, they might know that, or you might even know that they need an MC. You can offer that as a service. So it's almost like you're taking a break from actually playing music in front of people and using your voice to interact with the audience. Avenue 6, tuition, another great one. There's different ways to do it. People do courses. A lot of people do online video calls, sort of one-to-ones, where you could tell someone the exact equipment they need without breaking the bank if, say, they're a beginner DJ and they want to get into it. And technology, again, is evolving in so many different ways where you can teach someone how to DJ without them even being in the same country as you. They could be thousands and thousands of miles away from you. And all you need is a platform that allows video calls and an audio input and a decent quality camera. And that's how things can be done. That is a service that you can bring. Avenue 7, content creation. This is one that falls into hundreds of categories. And technically, this is what I'm physically doing right now. So when I'm not on the decks, we're going to be talking in front of the camera. Content creation, again, this is one form of it, but there's so many different ones. If you're not someone that likes to talk in front of a camera, you might just want to showcase your DJ skills. That's absolutely fine, because when it comes to TikToks, Reels, long form YouTube videos, there's all these platforms and all these different elements and things that you can do that allow you to reach bigger audiences from the comfort of your own space. As long as you've got a decent camera, the audio's been recorded properly, lighting, there's different elements of content creation. But I think all in all, this is one that you'd have to sort of break down and research in your own time to know, right, do you want to do DJ content creation? Do you want to do talking head? Do you want to do podcasting? There's so many different ones. Do you want to do gig logs? There's so many different elements to content creation. Again, this is an avenue where there's not an exact limit, but if I was to go down everything that you could do from content creation, you'd be here for about 3 days. We've only got 15-20 minutes for this video. Avenue 8, mobile DJing. This is one where I feel for some DJs where you may be used to rocking up to a booking with your laptop and your laptop bag on your back, as opposed to a full setup. It's a business in itself. And where people want to book you to DJ, and you might be someone that might not do bookings all the time, and that makes sense. If you're not heavily doing bookings where you've actually got to bring your own equipment, sometimes hiring from an AV company like ourselves would be the way to go. But this is not me trying to gatekeep. This is me actually trying to share gems, because this is something that you could do as a side hustle, or instead of a client booking you for just your DJ services only, they're also booking you for the sound and lighting, as a separate package. So you're almost getting booked twice under the same roof at the same time. It's something that people want all the time, whether it's just sound, whether it's sound and lighting. Implementing these features into your DJ sets and not just rocking up as a one-man band or with someone else with your laptop, for example. Being able to actually bring a mini production to a basic venue. It improves the perspective that you want to portray to someone that either has booked you there and then, or people that you could be documenting it to online for them to see as part of your portfolio that's just ongoing when it comes to building it. So yeah, mobile DJing, and this is the thing, like you don't have to break the bank when it comes to mobile DJing. You might want the latest speakers or something that's loud or boomy, you might want subs, but at the end of the day, you've got to sort of adapt it to your own circumstance. Can your car fit all of that equipment? You've got to look at the venue. Does it have a limiter? Does it have adequate space to be bringing a full rig? What's the logistics like? There's a lot of research that you'd have to do when it comes to mobile DJing, but all in all, it's definitely lucrative business as opposed to just being someone that's more used to having a DJ career of just rocking up with your music and absolutely nothing else. And we've got a bonus avenue. It stems off mobile DJing, but this is more large scale, and this is what we're currently doing here at Camille Live. So it's AV production. As a DJ, it's similar to mobile DJing, but we're more focusing on larger scale events, much better equipment when you're a bit more established and you've got a lot of knowledge in the AV industry, not just solely DJing. When it comes to AV production, it falls into a range of different categories, and not just sound and lighting, which we all may know of, but you could also go into video, whether it's actually videography or live streaming. But then the other side of video is where you're supplying things like TV or LED screens. If you want to make the event interactive, you could put graphics on it. It could put slideshows if it's like a corporate booking. This is something that some DJs do like to do. Other DJs don't, because they don't have the sort of patience for things that could go wrong in AV or some of the expectations. But this is, again, a very lucrative business that you can get into, starting somewhere, building up your inventory and scaling. And it doesn't mean that you've got to have all of the equipment in the world. It doesn't mean you've got to have a massive warehouse or you've got to stuff all your equipment in the garage. There's loads of AV companies out there that would sub-rent from other AV companies just to make that specific booking work or to meet expectations without having to own it straight away. And another good thing is it allows you to get a feel for certain bits of equipment that you might not have any intention of purchasing there and then. It could be the price, it could be how complex it is, where you actually are able to hire it from another company and actually use it in a real world environment to know if that's for you or not. AV production is an amazing way to expand on your DJ career. If this is something where you want to DJ, but you also want to bring an AV setup with you, you can. If you solely want to just do an AV booking and put the decks to a side for a second, again, you certainly can. So that's 8 avenues plus a bonus on many ways on how you can expand your DJ career. Go back, go through the video, go through the chapters as well, and pick out and have a think about what you would like to do. There's so many that I haven't mentioned as well, and of course we could always do a part 2 if you'd like that as well. Just let me know in the comments. But as a roundup, always remember that every environment you're in as a DJ can teach you something that can be the gateway to something even bigger that you might not have any idea of. I was once in that position, but I'd say use this video as a guide, rough guide to get your mind going, not literal, just so that you know that there is so much more than DJ, and if things go quiet, what else can you do that keeps things flowing for yourself so you don't feel like you're doing nothing. I've been Spin-Milz. I will see you in the next video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is all mad because I usually let the graphic do that, but here we are. And I'll see you in the next video.